Sorry about my last video, we got interrupted there, and I just wanted to talk about the commemoration of the RIC and the Black and Tans. And it has finally happened. The landmine that we all knew would eventually trigger has now been stepped on by Varadkar and his cohorts, wanting us as Irish people to celebrate or commemorate, or how even his backtracking PR blundering team are spinning it. He now wants us to acknowledge the Black and Tans. Can you imagine? The British oppressing mercenaries that were recruited illegally to terrorise, rape and murder Irish women and children because the army, as bad as they were, had to act inside their military code and couldn't do that. No one on this land who has relatives still alive who are over 50 will be in any doubt of the brutality they enacted in Ireland. In fact, we demand an immediate apology from this so-called leader from India, and we want to sign and share the petition that's going around, which has almost 50,000 signatures. We will not stand for this. And although it's only been put off, make no mistake about it, these blue shirts will want to commemorate as soon as they're put back in power, and have no doubt that will probably happen. The Black and Tans are now part of Leo Varadkar, what he has called the pre-independent police forces of Ireland, which is akin to calling the ISIS the pre-independent police force of Syria. Rape, torture and murder is no more sanitised by alternative titles than it's forgotten by the victims and their families. Now, folks, I'm all for an all-inclusive Ireland, by the way, absolutely. And if they want to remember and commemorate the RIC and the Black and Tans, I think that's a bad idea. I don't think they should be included. You know, let's forgive and forget and all that. If you want to do that, that's fine. But I implore people to look at on Wikipedia. I'll just give you a quick look there. And it's the Irish War of Independence, or the Anglo-Irish War. And it was a guerrilla war fought in Ireland from 1912 to 1921 between the Irish Republican Army and British forces. The British Army, along with quasi-military Royal Irish Constabulary, that's the RIC that Leo and his cohorts want to remember, and its paramilitary forces, the auxiliaries, the Ulster Special Constabulary, and it was an escalation of the Irish Revolutionary period into warfare. In 1916, Irish Republicans launched the Easter Rising against British rule and proclaimed an Irish Republic. Although it was crushed after a week of fighting, the Easter Rising and the British response led to greater popular support for Irish independence. In December 1918, in the 1918 election, the Republican Party Sinn Féin won a landslide victory in Ireland. And of course, they're no longer the Sinn Féin that we see today. On January the 21st, 1919, now remember that date, I'm going to talk about that in a minute. On the 21st of January 1919, they formed a breakaway government, Dáil Éireann, and declared Irish independence. That day, 2 RIC officers were shot dead in Solohead Beg ambush by IRA volunteers acting on their own initiative. The conflict developed gradually. For much of 1919, IRA activity involved capturing weaponry and freeing Republican prisoners before they were shot, while the Dáil set about building a state in September, but not the state we have today, by the way. In September, the British government outlawed the Dáil and Sinn Féin, and the conflict intensified. The IRA began ambushing RIC and British Army patrols, attacking their barracks and forcing isolated barracks to be abandoned. The British government bolstered the RIC with recruits from Britain, the Black and Tans and auxiliaries, who became notorious for ill discipline and reprisal attacks on civilians, some of which were authorised by the British government. Thus, the conflict is sometimes called the Black and Tan War. The conflict also involved civil disobedience, which I always call for because I think it's a great thing, and notably the refusal of the Irish railwaymen to transport British forces or military supplies. Now, the reason I asked you to remember that date, the 21st of January 1919, is simply this. There's an agenda in this country. And if you look back and Google Irish blue shirts Nazi salute, and you will see who the true blue shirts and Fine Gael are. And they were always the enemies of Ireland. They were always those sneaky underground people in Ireland who were always against the Irish people. And Fianna Fáil are no better. They're simply a mudguard to these people. And Sinn Féin have come so far away from where they once were. They're nothing but a mudguard as well. And I'm calling on Leo Varadkar and everybody out there, because what I believe through the school system, they don't teach you any of this. And there are some good Republicans, nationalists and sovereign people in this country who've actually took the time to learn their history because they didn't learn it in school. And you, as I say, look, in the day of Google, ignorance is a choice. So isn't it incredible that any country who broke away from these, and look, I'm not against English people, by the way, they're our friends, they're our cousins, we know that. This was a British crown system of oppression that even oppressed the British people. So, let's not get confused with any of that. We love our English cousins and the Welsh and the Scots. Of course we do. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about crown forces, which is run by secret societies and even nothing to do with the Queen. Not that I give much curse about her either. But in any event, I digress. So all countries who pulled away from that crown oppressive system have always celebrated their Independence Day. And if I was to say to any of you good people out there, what is the Independence Day of America? We will always say July the 4th. And even in Ireland we celebrate that because it's a good thing. But in Ireland, for some reason, they will never teach you in school what Ireland's Independence Day is. And I've asked a number of people, what is Ireland's Independence Day? And they normally come back with the 17th of March being St. Patrick's Day. But let me tell you, folks, and this is hidden history, and if we're to be all inclusive, let's start with our own first. And this is why those blue shirts of Flanagan and Varadkar and et al., all of those traitors to this country, they want to commemorate these murdering rapists of the black and tans, instead of, and this is what I'm calling on now, I'm calling on Leo Varadkar and all the blue shirts to show a little bit of nationalism, a little bit of pride in this country, and celebrate what is our Independence Day, which is coming up very soon, okay? And it's the 21st of January. So I'm calling on Leo Varadkar and that state puppet organisation RTE to come to the Mansion House at 12 noon, because that's where sovereign people go, it's where nationalists go, it's where Republicans go to celebrate Ireland's Independence Day. And it's the 21st of January at 12 noon outside the Mansion House in Dublin. And I'm calling on all government ministers and all TDs to be there. And we should document and verify anybody who doesn't come and then vilify them for not coming in circumstances where they had the audacity to try and commemorate the black and tans when they will not come out and commemorate and celebrate Ireland's Independence Day at the Mansion House. So folks, spread this video wide. January the 21st at 12 noon outside the Mansion House. It's where all nationalists, all Republicans, all sovereign people have stood for years, and most of you have probably never heard this. I know some have, but most Irish people have never heard of this. And therefore I'm calling on everybody to commemorate what is proper in this country. What is proper in this country, to celebrate that Irish Republican Army and those people who gave their lives for our independence, not to be pissed on and told it's raining from the likes of Varadkar and those blue shirt Nazis. So I'm calling on all TDs, all members of both houses to be outside the Mansion House at 12 noon on January the 21st and celebrate and commemorate Ireland's Independence Day. Start there before you start commemorating black and tan murderers and rapists. Okay, let's see what the response from government is to that. Don't hold your breath. But we will video it and we will see exactly who turns up. So I'm asking everybody, write, ring, email all your local TDs and anybody in government to attend where they should be attending to commemorate Ireland's Independence Day. Thank you.